This is Michael Wojcik with a City Council update for May 5th, 2014, and on into the morning of May 6th as well. Another one of these long meetings. Got started with our council meetings at about 3:30 today, and finished up about I don't know 1:40 in the morning. So another long one, but that's why y'all pay us the big bucks. So a whole bunch of issues to get to. Pretty extensive list today. So might as well get right to it. Chardonnay in a 6-1 vote. We did vote to issue a demolition permit. That was after at least there was an acknowledgement that the future owner is willing to walk away from his option if an owner does step up and come forward. But it's not looking real good right now, and I gotta say it really hurts. I mean, it was the based on our laws, I think it was the correct decision, but it's still kind of painful to be losing a monument like that. I remember after the college apartments went down, I didn't want to be a part of that, but boy, this was a tough call, and I appreciate the council bearing with me and following up on the, giving me some time to look at some of the facts. And we did, per my last video, we did confirm that there was something that said that was not exactly true, but I don't think it was material in the end, and the other statements checked out pretty well. Next item, the Nicholas in Kutsky Park, the proposed 4-story building did. We tabled it for 2 weeks to let the developer work on it more. A few things. I mean, a lot of folks were concerned about the parking. That wasn't my biggest concern, but it did come up. There were some details that the neighborhood believed that they were getting, and upon closer inspection, because I wanted to go through and make sure they were getting what they expected. There was a couple things like burying the utility lines, which were shown on the plans, that it's not actually part of the plans, and those details are pretty important. I think it's a pretty good looking building. The biggest concern I have is probably you've got essentially a 5-story building immediately next to a single family home. 240 foot long building mass. That's kind of tough. I'd like to see a little bit more of a transition to the neighborhood. I thought staff had some pretty good recommendations, and I mean, you can still afford to do a really nice building there at 65, 70 units. So I hope that we come back with something that can be more broadly supported by the council. And lastly, it was brought up too that there are 2 historic properties. A demolition permit had been issued on one of them, the Conley home, and I suspect that both the Kutsky house and the Conley home, if a demo permit were ever to be applied for, and that would probably go to the Heritage Preservation Commission and the City Council, and there's no guarantee that that permit would be issued, and that was one of my biggest concerns. Is the neighborhood put a lot of effort into trying to preserve those properties themselves, but we do have a heritage preservation ordinance in place, and a private agreement between them and the neighborhood does not alleviate the city of the responsibility of applying our own laws. On the heritage preservation front, we did officially now hire the 106 group out of St. Paul to really come up with a comprehensive list of some key properties for us. Really excited to get that going. That's been one of the big hang-ups in our heritage preservation battles here. We had a guy who I'd best describe as a slumlord in Slatterly Park, and came to the city council very, what can you say, 77 police calls in a couple of years, and 4 disorderlies in a matter of just a few months, and just a terrible, terrible property owner. So many neighbors contacted me, and there were some people, Sandra wanted to give him some leniency, and the guy was completely unrepentant. Everything had an excuse. He was making up stuff as he was speaking to the council. Not a whole lot of respect for the kid. Hopefully he grows up one of these days, but we revoked his license. We're required to put a period of time in there, so we revoked it for 1 year. Hopefully that will be sufficient time to get him out of the property rental business. I think that I just think that some people just can't responsibly own properties, and I think he falls right into that list, and he certainly didn't say anything today that convinced me otherwise. I do thank our police officers for issuing those disorderlies so we can take care of business ourselves. The Uptown Art, I was a little bit, kind of a little frustrated with how this thing was dragging out, and we just punted on Richard's the RCA that was put there, that was to basically create specs and bid it out later. And we're just going to directly work with the artist. The artist is hopefully going to take on some apprentices up here. We're going to not pull this money out of the for a specification or get maximize the reduced amount of dollars we had for the public art. I'm glad that that's going. I appreciate my colleagues' support for that. I do have to give a shout out to my friends in Cottage Grove, and congratulations on landing yourself a grant for a new bicycle park. I look forward to coming up and playing there someday. You beat out Chicago. Love it. Cottage Grove beats Chicago. We love you. Um, in the earlier meetings, I think we had the arts group that came back, and I think they were looking for a some sort of decision point, but we just got answers to our questions, and those questions came from other organizations. So I want to let other organizations view the responses to the questions, see what their take is. If we're going to move forward with some sort of umbrella organization, there's got to be some pretty broad consensus about it, and we're certainly not there yet. And I don't want, as a city council, to strong arm these other arts organizations into a structure that they do not support or agree with. Hopefully we can create some broad consensus and go forward with what an umbrella organization might look like. So there you go, about 6 minutes of what I've been doing for the last half of the day, and I think I'm going to go get some sleep now. Catch you again next time. Bye.